Hello, and welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Whether you're going for that next promotion, looking for a job, or making a career pivot, I'll teach you how to navigate it all so you can have the career you want. This is episode 51. And today I want to throw out an idea. It seems maybe a little counterintuitive, but I had this thought that a job search or even a career, okay, let's just make it real. Your entire career is a little bit like being an entrepreneur. Now, I know some of you are going to say, wait a minute, I am not entrepreneurial, and that may be true. You may have zero interest in starting a business, running a business, or anything like that. But if you think about it, your own career is like running your own little micro business. You get to decide, you get to choose certain roles, certain things, when you're ready to change, when you must respond to market forces like layoffs and restructures. It is requiring a lot of the same skills that entrepreneurs have because you are the manager of your own life. You're the manager of your own career. You are the leader of your career. And when you're in job search mode, when you're taking control of your career trajectory, then yeah, you're an entrepreneur. I'm just going to say it. You really are. And I challenge you to take a look at stories of entrepreneurs, and instead of projecting their actions and activities onto a business, what if they were taking all that action? What if all of those activities were really applied personally? It is so fascinating. And the reason I've got to be thinking about entrepreneurial things, entrepreneurial activities and attitudes as being associated with a job search is because one of the things that entrepreneurs face constantly is failure. And yet somehow they're willing to face it head on and keep going. They just have learned that failure is just a combination of a thought and a feeling, and it's manageable, right? This feeling of failure is manageable. And if you stop to think about it, when it comes to your job search, if you are not doing the things that you know you need to do, I want you to be a curious watcher of your brain and ask yourself if fear of failure is in play. Here's how you know it is in play. Because you stop producing, you stop progressing, you are doing the stuff that's in your comfort zone. Online applications, I'm talking about you. You are staying in a success zone because it's easy and it's in a predetermined context. Yeah, it's easy to feel successful in your job search if you're just clicking apply and doing online applications all day long. It's easy. You know exactly what it looks like, and you know exactly what happens, and you just are waiting for that response, right? But yet, when the response isn't what you want, then you're going to feel rejected and all of that stuff too. So it doesn't matter. You're always going to feel a feeling. I would much rather have you manage the feeling of fear of failure than manage the feeling of rejection. You might have to do both. I'm not going to lie and tell you that you're not, but I'd much rather have you processing fear of failure up front because it's going to get you into the productive action that's required for a job search than processing rejection and building resilience, because you look back at that number and 300 job applications later, you have minimal interviews or lots and lots of rejections. You don't have to go there up front if you decide that you're going to manage your fear of failure. And this is the deal. Willing to fail means knowing how to manage your mind. That is it. Because failure is always and only a story. It's a story you're telling yourself. And those words strung together in your brain, that story, you're the author of that story. You can decide how the story ends. You can decide if the failures and the tries and everything works out great or works out terrible. You've heard me talk about how your brain doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So yeah, it's no wonder that if you're imagining failure, you're imagining rejection, you're imagining that this isn't going to work out the way you want, then yeah, fear of failure is going to come in there. It's normal. Our brains are really good at keeping us in survival mode, but to do the things that you want to do, to be willing to put yourself out there for the sake of your dream job, for the sake of that family, work, balance, lifestyle, everything that is behind your reasons for wanting to land a new job. You have to be willing to put yourself in harm's way, to risk failure in order to get that. There is no other way through it. And all you have to do to be willing to fail is manage your own mind. So you're thinking about what is it that you're wanting to do. You need to start asking yourself some questions. And instead of the why me or why not, you need to start having your own back. You need to start realizing that you are absolutely worth facing failure, that you are willing to change that story, and that you're willing to do what needs to be done in order to get the result that you're after. Creating a result means risking failure. And the kind of job search results you hear me talk about over and over again are sending a connection request. What's the failure there? They don't respond. You don't get an acceptance of your connection request. If you're creating a result of 5 connection requests a day, yeah, you're going to risk failure. Failure being they didn't say yes. But if you don't do it, you are only failing ahead of time. 5 connection requests could equal 5 yeses. It could equal 1 yes. But if you don't risk it, then you're getting 0. So you're failing anyway. If failure means no one accepts, then not taking action is actually only failing in advance. So you've got to ask yourself, what is it you need to do to keep moving forward? There's a really interesting quote I heard from my life coach who said, discomfort is the currency of my dreams. No one said a job search is comfortable. Hey, there's going to be, if anything, it's up and down. You kind of get elated because someone said yes, or you had a great interview, and then you have the dip of not fun stuff, rejections, and all of that other thing. But here's the deal. If you can just decide that discomfort is part of it, that you're willing to go through any discomfort you must in order to get the job you want, then I say bring it on, right? I'll tell you, I feel a little hint of discomfort. I feel a little bit of fear of failure every single time I turn on this mic. I wouldn't be a normal human if I didn't. But it's worth it to me to get a message out there that I know will help people. It's worth it to me because I've chosen this career path. And I know this is where I belong. So am I willing to risk failure? Am I willing to risk no one listening to this podcast? To do what I want to do? 100%. I want you to do the same. I want you to say, hey, if this requires discomfort, I'm all in. It's such a cool thing to be willing to put yourself in harm's way for your dreams. And by in harm's way, I just mean feelings. Feel the feelings. Process the feelings. It's when you avoid them and skirt around them, and especially for those of us that are positive thinkers, sometimes those negative thoughts are kind of shocking because we realize, ooh, wow, that's not a happy thought. That's not true. But go back to where it's coming from. Go a little bit deeper. Peel the layers of that onion off and find out what is the core that is creating that. And is it fear of failure that's stopping you? When you start to get the sense that fear of failure is impeding your progress in your job search or in your career, I want you to start asking yourself some better questions. Here's one. What can I do today to make progress? And don't forget, little tiny baby steps are still results and still progress. So just give yourself that space. What do I do today to make progress towards the result I'm trying to create? Whether that's a little mini goal you've set or the big goal you've set. The other question I really love is, how can I make this work now? This is a much better question than what I know is going on in most of your brains is, why isn't this working? Why isn't it working is such a common question when you're in your job search or you're working on your next level in your career because you're measuring it against something that should be working. But instead of asking yourself, why isn't this working? Asking yourself, how can I make this work now? Is tapping into another level in your brain that will give you answers, that will give you ideas, that taps into creativity because your brain likes to answer questions. So if you ask yourself the question, why isn't this working? The answers you're going to get are not answers that are going to keep you moving forward. Your brain is going to scan and it's going to look for all the evidence of why it's not working, because you're not working hard enough, or you don't have the right experience, or you can't find the right people. Your brain's going to serve up all of that evidence. It scans for the answers to your questions. So when you ask, how can I make this work now? Your brain is looking for much better answers that are going to help you move forward in those tiny little things that you need to do to build up to the big things. What is it about facing your fear of failure and doing it anyway? What does that really look like? It looks like having your own back. It looks like believing that you are worth the risk, that what you want is worth it, that you are innately worthy, that you can actually be the CEO of your own life and make decisions in the moment. Try things, try new strategies, step out of your comfort zone, and do the things, all the things that need to happen to make business happen. Your business, your career, your job search. 100% possible. So face your fear of failure. Decide that discomfort is okay and do the next thing. All right. I'll talk to you next time. If you like listening to this podcast, then you are going to love my program, Job Search Field Guide. This is a unique opportunity. I offer group coaching alongside a 5-step process to help you land a job quickly. So I hope you will join me in Job Search Field Guide. This is going to be revolutionary to your career journey and your job search, and you get lifetime access. So find it at elissashuck-careercoach.com, and I will see you there.